Hey everyone, this is Trumpetman with Arena Open Draft 2. So we squeaked in at 3-1, which means this is single elimination. And we're going to play up to 4 rounds, so either 4 wins or 1 loss. And I'm pretty much going to go in with the same strategy I had in the first draft, where I'm going to prioritize the Naya colors, but I'm going to understand that this is a little bit different than it might be in like in a premier draft or some other table where red is underdrafted because the players in this pod, theoretically, the best of the best, essentially, that have qualified for this. So if I, open a Blue Sun's Twilight and I'm getting past a bunch of good blue cards, then I'm not afraid to go down that road. We drafted Black Red in draft 1 in a really pretty tough seat, and if I had been unwilling to draft blue and black, I think, we wouldn't have made this draft. So it's gotten me this far. I'm going to stick with it and we'll see where it goes. All right, well, instantly rewarded. First draft didn't really see any good rares. So opening up the Eternal Wanderer is fantastic. Now, there is an Anoint with Affliction, but more importantly, there's a Planar Disruption, and a lot of good cards in this pack are white. So we are passing a lot of good white cards, but, I'm going to fight pretty hard to make sure we can play this Eternal Wanderer. Cards I kind of want to clock and just see if they come back are the various white cards, because Flincing Raptor, Planar Disruption, and Jawbone Duelist all would be interesting if they did wheel. I have Malcator, also would be interesting if it wheels, because it's literally the only blue card, and it's a blue-white card specifically. So if I happen to see some eyes in the next few picks, I might think about that. And also, if we see it on the wheel, and if we don't see it on the wheel, it tells us a lot. A couple good black removal spells, green, nothing of note here, and then 2 good red cards as well. So there's really a lot of good information we're going to get from this pack on the wheel. So if we look here, I think the best cards we could theoretically take would be Armored Scrapgorger, Indoctrination Attendant, and Anoint with Affliction. And stating that, if I take the Attendant, it means we're more likely to play the Eternal Wanderer, but it is, I think, weaker than both the other cards, although it is a really good card. I could make a stand by just taking that card and try to basically say, like, I'm going to be the white drafter and I'm going to make it work. Which I don't hate doing. I don't love taking Anoint here because it kind of forces me into that, where at least if it's Scrapgorger, it helps me maybe splash the Eternal Wanderer, but I think, the table can be pretty tough, so I'm just going to try to play my bomb. So I'm just going to take the white card because I do think it's worse than the green and the black cards, but I really do make a stand by just taking the second pick, and I think the card is good. So this one's interesting. So we're seeing Hexgold Slash, and it comes down to Hexgold Slash versus Swooping Lookout. I think Hexgold Slash is definitely a better card than Swooping Lookout. There's also an Urbrass Anointer, and that doesn't really matter because it doesn't play with our cards, but it is in the pack. So there's, multiple red cards that were passed to us here. I think I'm going to take Hexgold Slash third because I think it would be a sign at a table of this caliber, and I don't have any cheap things, and I know Swooping Lookout is really good too, although the more I talk about it, maybe the more I just take Swooping Lookout. It continues to cut white. Yeah, it's still really, really good. I mean, either way, it's a cheap card. I think if this card were a little bit worse, I would just take Hexgold Slash there. But the fact that I just get to keep staying white, and this just plays well in any white deck is nice. It's also an artifact. Like, if blue-white artifacts were open, then taking this here and staying open, going deep in a color because we have Eternal Wanderer, I think is a little bit better. Barrel Spawning, I think, is probably the best card in the pack. I love a Barbatterfist, and we got past Hexgold Slash in the last pick. So it's really between those two cards. But I think I'm just going to take the 2-drop. Like, I find Barbatterfist is just fantastic. This is a little bit more of a sign. Yeah, but the fact... I just keep thinking of that slash that we got past. Alright, cool. Like, I do think the Viral Spawning is better than the Barbatterfist is, but positionally, I think the Hex Gold Slash third pick is more important than the fourth pick green card. And then here we get the actual best card in the pack, which is really nice. Ruthless Predation would be nice too, but I'm really happy to see Furnace Punisher in the pack, because now we're really well set up to hopefully just be in white-red. I also was afraid to pass Hex Gold Slash, because at this point I haven't really passed very many good red cards. I think I passed like a Furnace Strider early, but not a ton else. We'll see it on the tapes later, but... Okay, Swooping Lookout is a great sign here. You know, just a fantastic magic card. It also wears Barb Batterfist really well. Like, turning it into a 2/1 flyer is a big deal. And Slow Bad, while not a good card, the fact that there's a red card in the pack, I think, is really good news for us. So I'm really happy with the way this draft is going, and hopefully we just continue to have smooth sailing from here. Wow. Okay. I'm just going to try to be a Barb Batterfist Swooping Lookout combo deck. I think it is better than the Shrapnel Slinger, though. I do like that card, too. Really good with the Indoctrination Attendant as well, because it's just a cheap 1-mana play that you can bounce back to your hand. But I'm also looking for Justiciars at this point, because I have 5 artifacts already. And I can also, if the Eye of Malcator wheels, I can take that speculatively, because I have a lot of cheap artifacts in white already. Like, if red dries up, then we have that optionality. Terramorphic Expanse or Mirren Bardiche. I have a lot of playables already, so I kind of just want to take the Expanse to make sure my mana is good. Though I also have 3 1-drops. So maybe I should just take the Bardiche in red-white. Kind of an interesting pick. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Bardiche, because if we don't end up in red-white specifically, look, the Eye of Malcator came back. I think I'm going to take that over Vanish into Eternity. It was literally the only blue card, and that's kind of telling me no one's interested in blue-white artifacts. So if we get more of those on the wheel, like, we're pretty well set up. Right now, I'd rather be red-white, but I didn't see that much outside of these 2 cards, so. And I did pass that Hex Gold Slash, so it means that, like, even though I picked up a couple red cards right after, it's going to be hard to get into red because of that in pack 2, just because I passed the Hex Gold Slash. So there might be some ramifications down the line. Whereas if at least blue-white artifacts is open, then that is a reasonable, like, backup plan. Surgical Bay or Ichor Synthesizer. I think I'm taking Ichor Synthesizer here. Just because I want cheap plays. Let's take an Escaped Experiment. Not a great card, but I don't really need a Surgical Bay yet. And I want to just make sure I have artifact count in case that matters. Like, if I open up some red bomb, I can just take that because I have a couple red cards. So the fact that I'm deep in white and I'm going to play white no matter what is a nice place to be. Ooh, Zealot's Conviction with 3 lookouts. Might just be good enough. Like, turning this into a 2/3. If my opponent has a bunch of 2/2s, then that's solid. And Mace Skull Bomb is good at triggering Eye. Okay, so our options are basically Exuberant Fuseling or Cephalopod Sentry. If I take the Sentry, I might wheel the Surgical Spell Bomb, which would be nice. The Eye wheeled. The other Eye didn't wheel, but probably someone took it speculatively. I still feel like because we got the late experiments and the late Eye, means that probably blue-white artifacts is going to be open. Oh, I might also get Gardens back, which would be good with the Sentry. So I'm going to take the Cephalopod Sentry here. I could be greedy and try to wield this one rather than something else, but there's a lot of cards I'd be happy with wheeling, so I'm just going to take the highest upside card here. All right, and an on-color rare for our plan. So at this point, we're pretty likely to just be blue-white. I like Unctus as just being a 2/4. Now, in best of 3, blue-white is quite a bit worse because folks get a bunch of these, like, Shrapnel Slingers, this type of effect. That being said, I mean, if I'm getting good cards in the color pair, then I'm just going to draft them. So I'm going to do that. I might even be able to wheel, like, either the Fair Basilica or a Serum Snare or something. There's a there's a Planar Disruption. The interaction is really, really good in blue-white because you don't get a lot of it. So prioritizing the Planar Disruption Maybe Wheeling the Eye. Probably not, but it's possible. I also really like Transplant Theorist, though I have 2 good 4-drops already. Alright, take an Eye of Malcator. Hopefully we never see that card in terms of the games. I think I just take the land, because we do have these lookouts. So, like, this does help. Like, I have lookout plus Unctus. So, upping my blue and white mana sources is nice. None of the other blue and white cards are even that good. Wow, yes, 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 yes. Well, we found the open lane. This is fantastic. I do want to get some Justiciars. I think mostly they haven't been opened. And the Skull Bomb being in this pack is a really good sign. I can also bring back in the Maze Skull Bomb at this point because we have double Eye of Malcator. So right now, the only thing that's not an artifact is the Planar Disruption, and the Unctus is Retrofitter, and the Internal Wanderer. So 3 cards out of our 12 playables we're playing. We have 9 creatures plus 2 eyes. So basically everything's a creature or a removal spell. Or a removal spell plus creatures. So there we have it. I also don't need to necessarily play as many Escape Experiments main because I have Swooping Lookouts, so we'll kind of see how that goes. So this is a choice between Incisor Glider and Meldweb Strider. I feel like I can pick up more 5s eventually, and I already have a Bardiche. This card also is particularly good in my deck because I have Swooping Lookouts, so I think I'd rather take the Glider. The 1/3 is just a nice body to always have, and it combos really well with Retrofitter because I can have a 4/4 flyer. And so just lowering my curve in that way is pretty nice. I'm probably not going to play anything here, but I'll take an Azuri. I think... Do I want that or Vivisurgent's Insight? Well, I'm never really going to splash an Azuri, I don't think. I have no Proliferate. Yeah, I'll take a Vivisurgent's Insight. And probably not play it ever. But yeah, I might bring it in. There's the Spell Bomb we wanted. I think it's better than Mycosynth Gardens. The cards Gardens is really good with his Eye of Malcator and Cephalopod Sentry. But Skull Bomb gives a unique effect to kind of like bounce something, which I think is going to be more valuable than Mycosynth Gardens. Okay, Serum Snare or Bring the Ending. I think I like the bounce spell a little bit more. I'm going to be tapping out a lot. I don't even know if I'm going to play it main. Also, I know I have a lot of playables right now, but if I don't have to play the Escaped Experiments, that might be for the best. The problem with this card is that it doesn't block very well. So it's great when I'm on the play, but it also has a lot of weaknesses in the fact that it's an X1. I was just checking the Unctus, loots on the blue cards, and pumps the artifacts. So that's the best way with the Swooping Lookouts. I can never loot with the Lookouts, but it turns them into 2/3s immediately. The only thing I really like about the Escaped Experiments, well, I have 3 Swooping Lookouts with Retrofitter. So like I actually have 4 flyers. So anytime I draw Retrofitter, like if I've played any of those 4 cards, it's gonna be like the best card in my deck. So yeah, I don't probably need those. I also have 2 Skull Bombs to turn on the Retrofitter early. So like right now, if those are on my board and I'm playing 15 cards, this looks like a really good core to me. And then I have a bunch of options. Yep, it did wheel. Okay, so eye number 3, fantastic. So what are we looking for pack 3? Really just more bombs, maybe a little interaction, and Mandible Justiciars. I mean, I don't need a ton for this deck at this point, but obviously it can get better. Like, we're mostly upgrading things at this point, because I probably have almost 23 playables, as is. We did open a Vraska. I probably should take Vraska and then maybe splash it. There's nothing else I'm going to play here other than Charge of the Mites. If I get some Prophetic Prisms, it could be a decent thing to do on 2 mana anyways. So, not sure. Pack's not starting out well. I think we take the Meldweb Strider. Even if I splash Vraska, well, I could take Anoint with Affliction to splash. If I'm already playing Vraska and I don't have that much interaction, then Anoint would be pretty good. Then again, Meldweb Strider I think is perfect in my deck right now. And if it doesn't wheel, it's pretty bad for me. So I think maybe I just take the Meldweb Strider. Like, I didn't get the first one. And I don't have another... Like, if I already had 2 Bardishes, then I probably don't need the Strider. But I don't have that. And that's just kind of interesting here. Okay, Planar Disruption. Fantastic. Our lane is not looking very open right now. There's the Prophetic Prism, but I'm okay to just have a streamlined deck and not play Vraska. I'd rather just have the consistent Planar Disruption at this point. If I do get Prophetic Prisms later on, it's nice. Though I think that card is a little more contested in these best of 3 day 2 queues. Because everyone's kind of at a splish splash around because I think we're in a unique spot where our lane is super open. I feel like that doesn't actually happen that often here. Porcelain Zealot, most of our things don't get pumped by it, so I'm not really that interested. So it's either Charge the Mites or Mesmerizing Dose. I already have 2 Planar Disruptions, so I think I'm going to take Charge of the Mites. It can make artifacts or kill things. And we have a lot of... Well, we don't actually have that many creatures. But a lot of things make creatures in this deck, so I think Charge of the Mites randomly can be good in the deck. I was really hoping we get like another Unctus's Retrofitter. But the right blue cards, I think, have not really been opened in pack 3 for us. Bring the Ending or Glistener Seer. We don't have that many twos, so I wouldn't hate to bring the Ending. But I also just have Escape Experiments I could play instead. I think I'm going to take that, though, over Glistener Seer, because I already have so many Swooping Lookouts. And yeah, our deck was just insane, and then pack 3 not really where we want to be. But that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Okay, here's the Prism. I think I'm going to take that, because if I get a couple more Prisms, then we can splash the Vraska. And it's just decent as is. It can also randomly let you use the Maze Skull Bomb. Otherwise, it's a Mesmerizing Dose, but I just think I don't want to overload on that type of effect. There's also a Draw Skull Bomb, but I think the Prism is more important. Basilica Spell Bomb is nice here. Just as a way to turn on our eyes. We do have 3 eyes, so that's pretty fantastic. Wow. I already have a lot of ways to turn on the Retrofitter, so I think I'm just going to take the Basilica Shepherd. It's just so good with the Sentry and gives us good top end. Yeah, I think it wasn't really opened well. I already have a Serum Snare, so I think I'm going to take a Vanish for the board. And we did wheel the other Prism, so I think I can play Vraska off double Prism and 1 Swamp. Kind of worked out. Probably don't play the Bardiche now, actually. I think Meldweb Strider is better. Although maybe it's not. Maybe... I guess the problem with the Meldweb Strider is I can't really crew it in this deck. All my creatures are small. So maybe I just upgrade it and I have this instead. How many lands do I want to play? I have 3 Skull Bombs and 2 Prisms. I only have 6 quote-unquote expensive cards. 6 cards that cost 4 or more. So I probably would be okay with 16 lands in this deck, as long as my mana is good enough. Like if I played like this, my mana is 8/8/1. And I have 2 Prophetic Prisms. So I have 3 sources of black for the Vraska Splash. I won't be able to cast on 6 very often, but that's okay. And then I have 8 sources of double blue, but really 10 if I count my Prisms. Do I want to play a Bring the Ending on 2 mana? It might be better just have an Escaped Experiment here. That way we have 16 artifacts, but it's really 19 artifacts if you count my spells. So that's pretty solid. If I don't play this splash, I could cut both prisms and play a bunch of escaped experiments. And a Meldweb Strider, but I think that's not really actually that powerful. Indoctrination Attendant Prophetic Prism is kind of cute. Okay. Anything else I want to change? The Serum Snare is kind of sticking out to me as a card I could maybe play. But is it better or worse than Charge of the Mites? I like that Charge of Mites lets me block with Eye of Malcator, but it's not really that impressive otherwise. But it is good with Cephalopod Sentry. And it randomly is some removal. But I really don't have that many creatures, so how good is Charge of the Mites really? Not really that good. I could play Ichor Synthesizer too. Because it has the right amount of toughness. And I actually have a lot of non-creatures. And Vraska randomly could proliferate. So I'm wondering if I should just play that main. Like if I played like... I played like this, then I have enough 2-drops that aren't always Prophetic Prism. I'd have 4 creatures. Or sorry, like that. 3 creatures plus the 3 lookouts. And I can randomly, like, cycle Skull Bombs on 2 mana as well. Like, if I play a Swooping Lookout on 1, there's a ton to do on 2. Eye of Malcator sets up everything from turn 4 onward. I think I like this plan. I might bring the ending on the... Well, I'm just going to tap out so much. I don't think bring the ending's actually good in this deck. And I like Charge of the Mites, but I think just having a 1/3 body is going to be better a lot of the time. Because otherwise I'm just have too many 3-drops. So I like want to just make sure I don't fall behind too early. And if I play the Synthesizer on 2, I then play Eye of Malcator and like Prophetic Prism on turn 4, plus another 2-drop. Eventually it will turn on, but more importantly it's blocking, and then this is going to trigger the Eye. If there's a lot of pump spells, I have Serum Snare I could bring in. And then, like, I have a good sideboard here. I don't think I want an Anatomist main. It is a good sideboard card. Yeah, I think this is solid. Alright, this looks pretty good. The experiment can loot off the Unctus on turn 3. The fact that we have extra mana right now is not really a problem. That was a great draw. They are red, so they might be able to shatter us a bunch from the sideboard, which would be bad. Definitely want to play the experiment over the Ichor Synthesizer here. Just because it can attack next turn. Whereas the synthesizer doesn't, it just loots. Which is maybe a reason to just play Escaped Experiment over the synthesizer, but I feel like in the dark, a lot of times I just want to be able to block. Red-black. Skull Bomb. That's interesting. If they have Free from Flesh, it doesn't even work because I have -X, -O. I'm going to discard the synthesizer here because I drew the Cephalopod Sentry. And that's going to let us... Eventually, we're going to Prophetic Prism into Vraska if we need to. Play my land and attack, I think. But don't attack with Unctus. Maybe I should have Cephalopod Sentry'd first. Just to have another artifact here. But if they get -3, -0, I should still be fine. Just discard a planar disruption. Seems crazy, but I think it's correct. Alright, that was solid against me there. Dunktis only got one good swing in. I'm surprised they let me attack and loot, but... Sure. So they can bounce my sentry. But then I can just replay it, and then we're in decent shape there. I can planar disruption after the fact. Wow, escaped experiment? So they're actually blue-red splashing black? Okay, that's interesting. I didn't think they would be splashing black off of Dross Pits. Maybe they're just straight 3-color. That's why I don't like escaped experiment too much. If we draw another artifact here, like an Eye of Malcator, that would be incredible. And that one works too. Now, I could planar disruption the Anointer, then they can bounce it with Surgical Spellbomb. But maybe that's fine. If they spend 3 mana bouncing this... I'm just playing a tempo game, right? Because next turn I'm going to Vraska almost no matter what. I could also hit their Skull Bomb with the disruption. But I kind of like doing this. It's not like the Anointer, like, replaying it eventually is, like, just not that big a deal. And just nullifying their 4-2 is really strong here. The biggest problem is if they play, like, a Shrapnel Slinger. But I feel like if they had that card, they might have already played it to kill my Sentry. But red, blue, Artifact, Oil, Grixis, they kind of had a crazy draft here. Yeah, see, they don't even have time to bounce the Anointer. I could block, but I don't think there's a reason to. So I could Prism first, but I might not get to play my spell. So I think that's not a good idea. Interesting they attacked first rather than just doing this, if that's what they were going to do. So what that tells me is they probably have the Death Touch trick. Offer Immortality. Now it's actually tempting to Prophetic Prism, because if I draw an untapped land, I can play this immediately, but if I draw any other spell, I can just play the spell. But I think I just got to get this down. I mean, the biggest problem with this play in my mind is that if I have to wait a whole turn to get Vraska on 6, because I did draw the Prism, so I can play this on 6 mana eventually. Which I probably want to do. Oh, but now we just drew Eye. I think I'm going to just hold the Prism. And then if we have multiple artifacts on top, I can still Prism here. Okay, so if I just keep both of those, I can Prism. And then draw Shepherd next turn. Play Shepherd, attack. And then Vraska doesn't hit Eye the following turn, but maybe that's not a big deal. Because it's still just having a Vraska. And I might actually have 6 mana by then anyways, for whichever one's better. Although it does kind of change things at this point. No, I should still play this because I want to get to my 6 mana. And Shepherd plus Eye is almost lethal, as is. If they redraw Anoint, that's fine. Maybe I should just bounce the Meldweb Curator. Otherwise it just trades with Curator. But then if it trades with Curator, then I just have my 3/3 flyer in play, so maybe that's still okay. The Anoint actually isn't very good for them right now. And then I'll just win with Planeswalkers. Or I could just not attack. I'm going to have the Eternal Wanderer. So I kind of want to attack. Yeah, I'm just going to attack because I have 2 Planeswalkers. Otherwise, I think this is a bad attack. But I know they're drawing a blank, essentially, this turn. I really like this 3-color Grixis mid-range deck. It's pretty interesting. I've never really seen a deck like this in this format. They didn't want to loot but they have Anoint in hand, and Anoint is not even really playable right now. Find it incredibly curious. Well, I'm just gonna Vraska on 5 after attacking for 3. I wonder if I should just turn their Theorist into a treasure. I don't really want to give them the treasure, though. I think I'd rather just draw cards.
Death is obsolete. Phyrexian spreads.
Like, they can't actually kill the Vraska without something special.
I can taste your fear.
So if I Vraska that, I have lethal, right? I can turn that into a treasure and bounce their Engraver.
Stay.
Okay. They have a 7-mana card, so I could bring the Ending. They also have a lot of 5-mana cards. So this would not be the worst. What else? 2/1 was really bad against them. But I also don't really need a 1/3. Do I want a Meldweb Strider? That's decent, but not great. I kind of just want Vivisurgeon's Insight, honestly. But maybe I need the Ichor Synthesizer. Like, if they've got to have some cheap cards, right? And it can still pressure. I already have really good expensive cards, so I think boarding in the Insight and just getting run over randomly is a good way to lose. I think I'm just going to keep that one in. Well, mulligan. keep this, and then I think get rid of the shepherd. Ooh, that was a good draw. The reason it was so good was this retrofitter can target it rather than the mace skull bomb potentially. And I can pop the skull bomb, try to find a land here. Very nice. I was kind of wondering if that's what they were gonna try to do. I'm wondering if I should use the skull bomb here. Because if I draw an island, I can play Unctus. But if I draw a plains, I can't play anything. Like the retrofitter doesn't do anything. But if my land is 2 cards down, I think I still just need to crack this. Some more anoints. We did draw our land. I guess I should just crash in with my retrofittered swooping lookout. Like, this is just going to get anointed, but I'm not using my turn for anything else, so... Well, they might anoint my 1/2 flyer, actually. But I'm gonna just use my mana. Also, if they do get rid of the lookout, I can attendant back the retrofitter and get value elsewhere. That part's kind of nice. Hmm. I think just play this one in case they have more removal. I think the attendant's actually more important right now because it brings back the retrofitter and is going to make something into a 4/4. Still no second blue source. We'll see if they can keep killing every single thing I play. So far, yes. all signs point to yes. It's tough, because if I play the retrofitter and they kill it, they can block here. And if they have another anoint with infliction, we're kind of doomed at that point. But I can untap an Ichor Synthesizer plus planar disruption. My alternative line is just Ichor Synthesizer and disruption the 3/4. But then I'm pretty dead to Ovika if they do that later. I think it might just be better to hit for 4 right now and then hold the disruption for a turn. And it lets me get Skull Bomb down. I don't know. It's pretty tough decision right now. If they have this, I mean, it's been a tough game. If you kill literally all my creatures, it's tough to win. Okay, they didn't rummage. So I wonder if they do have the Ovika because they're almost a 7 mana. It's interesting. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna... If I don't get an island, then I'm gonna just have to planar disruption this 3/4. Which is kind of ridiculous. Or I could triple block. Maybe triple block is better. They get a 2/1 if they have a removal spell, but I hold the planar disruption. But their deck is basically all removal. It's tricky. What would they kill? Like if it goes smoothly, they probably kill... Well, you know, I think actually the triple block is good, because if they do have removal, at least it protects my Unctus. Like, if they have 2 more removal spells, then I get in trouble. But, I mean, they've already played so many. And I don't know if they actually have that many. They discarded Ichorplate Golem, sure. They did kind of represent Offer Immortality last game, but that was kind of a weird card for them to potentially have. Oh, no, what they had was Urabrass Anointer. I had a 1/2 and they attacked with a 1 power creature. So actually they probably don't have Offer Immortality in this style of deck. Okay, maybe we finally stabilized. No. I think I tap like this. I am going to use the planar disruption to use my mana. It is a little awkward if they have Ovika, but I could actually maybe take a hit from that card. Alright, so they don't have that card. That's good. And they only have 6 mana, so they'd have to draw exactly like land plus Ovika. We almost have them to corrupted range for the glider, which is kind of funny. Not really why I'm putting glider in the deck, but yeah, it is a thing. They wanted to join the party. Alright. So, we do this, and then we want to find a land to set up Eternal Wanderer. Yeah, I don't want Bring the Ending at this point, especially because I have a double blue spell, so I'm going to tap out for the next 2 turns in a row. Alright, no Ovika. I kind of just want to play Eternal Wanderer and blink my Attendant, which can bounce the Retrofitter. I could also attack with the Eye of Malcator, and I'd still have like 2 blockers here. So let's do... It comes back at the beginning of the next end step.
Try to best me, if you can. I'll handle this one.
And if we bounce this, then we threaten lethal next turn. And Eternal Wanderer sitting in play means that Ovika can't come down. I can also threaten lethal if I -4 and then play an artifact with Eye of Malcator. We make them keep the Meldweb Curator. Like last turn I could have wiped the board with Eternal Wanderer, but didn't really seem that necessary because they need to deal with this plus the flyer plus all the eyes and stuff. So now I think we just -4 and then get lethal from there. So if we just keep the 1/1, I can play Retrofitter and Swooping Lookout.
Make
And that will
room.
kill them for sure, I think. They can't kill both things. Alright. Match 1 with this crazy deck. Alright, pretty solid start here. I don't know which one I'm going to lead on. Maybe the experiment just to deal damage. Though now I actually kind of want to play the glider. Well, no, if they attack with the Skrelv, I'll just block. I was thinking maybe I want to play the glider because then after I have Malcator I could double spell. Yeah, if they're white-blue, maybe blocking's less good. But are they playing Complete Devotion? Like, as long as I'm not taking a bunch of damage, I can just go I, and then just play Artifact every single turn for the rest of the game. They thought a lot and just didn't attack. No? Put the island on... If I put the island on top, I can I plus Swooping Lookout next turn, followed by Glider, followed by Swooping Lookout. So next turn's 4 damage, then plus 8 damage, then plus another 8 damage. Plus I have the 1/2 in play. So I think the island is good. Unlikely I run out of artifacts to play. I also don't have to play a Swooping Lookout, but I do think it's good at stopping Skrelv here, specifically. So the question is if they have Chrome Prowler, specifically. But I have 3 artifacts. So if I attack with Experiment, then it can attack into the Chrome Prowler. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to race here because I have Eye. That's pretty good against my Eye plan. But again, I still could attack with for 4 damage every turn. Like, trading 2 damage for 3 damage I think is good on this board. I can hit them for 7 here. And as long as I draw an artifact in the next 2 turns, that should probably do it. I guess the question is, if they attack with Chrome Prowler, can I block? The answer is probably no. Because they can charge of the mites, but if they charge of the mites and I play Swooping Lookout, they tap down Eye, and I get in for 6, they're at 3. And they're probably not doing anything else that turn either. I'm a little worried about the split of Chrome Prowler plus Charge of the Mites. So if I force the trade here, I think it does benefit me. If they have like 6 mana, I think it's a little bit worse. Also, like if they have Bounce Spell, like if they have Serum Snare plus another... Chrome Prowler is the worst card for me in this spot, basically. But they haven't been playing things to the board that are cheap, so they probably have expensive cards, which means I should probably just block. Because it'll buy me more time to draw more artifacts. Okay. That's fine. I mean, it's like, it's not really fine. They're going to be at 6. As long as I keep drawing artifacts, I'll be in okay shape. But I might have gone a little too fast that one turn where I double spelled. Because I don't have an artifact waiting in the wing. But trying to play around 2 immobilizers is tough. However, they're going to have to start immobilizing the Swooping Lookouts. Because if they don't, then any eye is going to be lethal. Ooh. Well, I'm happy about that. I wasn't attacking with that one anyways. Like, I feel ahead, but also I'm very scared, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's why I blocked the Chrome Prowler earlier. I was like, I need to buy time. So if I take 4... I kind of just want to block because of Eternal Wanderer. Land one time. Yes! I guess force the tap on the experiment. So just keep the experiment and let them have a might. And then they only have one more activation on the immobilizers, which should be buy me enough time to be able to Eye of Malcator.
I'll make the most of the little time I have. My blade has no equal.
I mean, they're gonna use the immobilizer, right? Although then any artifact kills them because they didn't tap it on their turn. Your deck's really good. I mean, our deck's also really good, but... Ah, I see.
Others need my help.
I think we just block because it buys us so much time. Any artifact then becomes lethal. Well, maybe not. If I just take 3 though, and then they just tap this, then I still need another artifact. Yeah, so if I just have time, I think I'm fine. Not to mention we have Vraska. If I ever draw Prophetic Prism. There we are. Alright, so we just need one more artifact. I have a lot of those. Play 3. Right, come on, deck. Let's go. Yes. Oh, why didn't I should have bounced their escaped experiment. That was so bad. I just had lethal and missed it. Well, my plan actually was to Skull Bomb back the eyes and then replay it to find another artifact. And it's still what I'm going to do. But that obviously is way worse than killing my opponent. Yeah, that was truly awful. I think we're still likely to win this, but... Note to self, don't make horrible plays. Tighten up for the next game. Okay. Alright, I now have lethal. That was really bad, but that's okay. Live and learn. Okay, so they have 1,000,000 charge of the mites. So what does that mean for us? Swooping Lookout is like the best card ever. Escaped Experiment is actively bad. Ichor Synthesizer, best card ever. Should I just play Mirror Custodian because it blocks? I think that's better than Gitaxian Anatomist in this matchup. How do I feel about Vraska? I think Vraska's still great. Anything else I want because they block? Not really. I think our plan is basically just swooping lookouts, and then our plan is still the same. think I'm gonna keep this because I do have planeswalkers I can draw into, and this is like one of the best cards in the matchup. I know I do have 3 of them, but I don't think I'm gonna mulligan this hand. I'm definitely not mulliganing now. The question is if I animate Prism or Retrofitter. Or sorry, Prism or Lookout. Probably just Lookout. But if they attack here, I can't block, right? I guess if they charge the mites, the Retrofitter it doesn't really matter which one I do, so I think I should just hit the Lookout here. Their curve is, I mean, this is a pretty good mulligan on their Malcator. Yeah. But I can trade the Lookout for the Justiciar if they ever attack. So it's still doing a lot of work. Like I effectively gained 3 life because that was in play. Deck, you are going to need to give me a little bit more than that. I mean, my hand was a little bit of a risky keep, but I have also drawn pretty badly off the top. But I'm hoping that can turn around here. All I really need is draw one of my 2 planeswalkers. What are we blocking? If I block this creature, I can just move it. If I block here, I go to 1 versus... I mean, I could also chump, but what if I block like... I don't know, is chumping even good? I mean, we have the Eternal Wanderer. Is that my only out? Yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to block. Hope to draw Eternal Wanderer. We're pretty far behind. Oh my goodness, it happened. So if we attack with both of our 1/1s, I think I want to just leave them with Malcator, though that's pretty bad if they can bounce it, but I can't really play around that. Whereas if I attack with both and then leave them Justiciar, I'm just going to leave them Malcator and attack for 1. Because like they can smell it out, so I could probably block. Well, if they block, then I could just blink the Golem. But then I die to Charge of the Mites. And we know they have 3 of them. Yeah, let's just do this.
This ends to... I'll finish this here and now.
Yeah, those both play. I believe I want both when I have Eye of Malcator going. So let's go ahead and just disruption the Malcator here. I don't want to take 3 damage. Oh, that's scary. A lot of tension, because they can kill me at like any moment. Just gotta attack, right? Get my damage in while it's good. Okay, artifact. Oh. But Immobilizer's no longer a live top deck. That's good for me. Yes! Oh my god, that Wanderer top deck. Ah, we needed it. Oh my goodness. Well, sometimes you play to draw your bomb and it works out. Like you don't win these arena opens by not getting lucky. Alright, well we made the cash. Let's keep going and see if we can get all of it. I think we keep this hand only because it does have the Eternal Wanderer. We're missing a blue source, but we have 8 sources plus 2 prisms. So, like, getting this by turn 3 actually is pretty reasonable. We also have the Maze Skull Bomb, so that I can play Lookout into Pop Skull Bomb on 2, potentially Retrofitter on 3. And now we really hope to Retrofitter. Right, so they have a lot of lands in hand, or at least enough. That means they're planning to curve out on us. Island? Yeah. If I draw another lanes, I can Indoctrination Tendant back the Planar Disruption, so maybe I should just lock this down for a turn. Also, I have the Eternal Wanderer, so I mean, if they go wide... I can always, okay, see if this worked out. Prism. And take some damage. Not really, like, no position to bluff or anything there. Yeah, if I Retrofitter, they can't really attack me unless they can remove the Retrofitter, so that's good. If I draw a land, I'm just going to play Shepherd. I do have to worry a little bit about Corrupted. But I can kind of freely block because I have Eternal Wanderer and I have the Retrofitter, so I have 2 cards that kind of make me want to trade resources with my opponent. Kind of want to double block because of Complete Devotion, but then that play is bad specifically against Offer Immortality. But complete devotion is so much more likely. Alright. I think I'm just gonna eye to set up Eternal Wanderer here. Hopefully they play more to the board and we can literally wipe everything. Top those. Well, I was hoping for one more, but I guess I should just attack with both first.
Try to best me, if you can.
Well, if they do that, now I could probably just make a double striker. They can hit me for... Or... Okay, so if they do that... I guess I could leave them with an Incisor Glider, and then I have both of these to help win the game. Or next turn I could zero. I could zero right now and take 3 poison. They can't play to the board. Like, they can hit Eternal Wanderer down to 3. And then I can Indoctrination Attendant back the Eternal Wanderer after -4ing. They only have 1 card in hand, though, so maybe just leave them with a Glider. Just accept the 2 for 1 here.
Kneel before the Emperor of Common.
I think trying to save the Eternal Wanderer for being better than a 2 for 1 in that spot is just a little too cute. I would try to do it if my hand was worse. Where I, like, can protect the Eternal Wanderer, but if they just have something like a removal spell on the Eternal Wanderer, I think trying to protect her is just a really good way to lose the game for basically no reason. Do I bounce Prophetic Prism, or do I just want to hit for 4? The Unctus's Retrofitter here. I'm already going to deal 5 damage. I guess it's 6 if I just bounce the land. If they draw White Sun's Twilight... I guess I'm almost never beating that card, right? Because I'm not dealing enough damage fast enough. I guess getting the card here is just better, though. I'm not really under that much pressure. I changed my mind. I think I don't actually deal enough damage to finish the game if I make the other line. This deals them 9 damage immediately. And like, let's say they White Sunned. I still have Eye of Malcator, and this can block, so I might actually be able to beat it with them being that low. Also, if I don't go wide enough, it's kind of bad against Kaya if they have that in their deck. Okay, so they do have Offer Immortality, so I need to be careful about that one. Um, Serum Snare, pretty good against them. Again, Swooping Lookout's kind of doing a lot of good work. They have Anoint with Infliction. How many cards I want to bring out? This blocks just fine, but it's nothing special against them. They have Dune Mover, that it's pretty solid against that, and I guess they have the Head Cleaver. So if I can double block it with small things like this plus something else, pretty good. I think maybe it's still better than a Serum Sneer. But my plan is basically to not block and race. And if that's the case, maybe the instant speed interaction is better. Yeah, I think I'm just going to board that in. Or maybe it's wrong to have like Braska in. I don't know, it's hard. Like when the deck is this good, and I have Malcators, I just can't actually board very much. I just want to make sure I don't get run over. But I do have 3 of the 1/2 flyer. So as long as I have a reasonable start, it's fine. Yeah, this hand's fine. Not sure what we want to do with the Skull Bomb. I definitely don't want to hold it to turn 4, I don't think. My guess is I'm going to play it on turn 1 to try to find a lookout. There's an Unctus. If I crack it on turn 2... Yeah, I really want to find a swooping lookout. So let's just try to do that. Yeah, the wrong one. I think we just eye here. I get 1 more poison counter, but then I can start blocking this. I want both of those, and in that order. Eventually I can loot away an island. That part is good. Unfortunately for me, I can't double spell this turn. So I think I need to Cephalopod Sentry to block. And then next turn I can turn this off. So I don't have the Offer Immortality because they would have attacked with us. I do get to just Incisor Glider plus Planar Disruption here, though, which is really solid. I think that's better than Unctusing. Because if they just kill the Unctus, I'm in trouble. Plus, Unctus is another trigger on Eye. I guess blocking these is effectively the same, so I should just block this one. Unless it's exactly Whispers of the Dross. Do I care about my life total? They probably just drew offer immortality, so I should just block the ground creature. And then our Basilica Shepherd is going to be live to just block everything else. I could Eternal Wanderer here. Actually. They don't have another Anoint because they would have used it on the Incisor Glider. But it is bad if they have Charge of the Mites, and that's a reasonable card for them to have. I'm not going to play my land because I don't really want them to know about Eternal Wanderer here. Yeah, that sucks. I'm just going to leave him with a Mite and then say go. You know, or I could play Eternal Wanderer and just 0. Can they beat that? Maybe not. I'm not really under pressure here.
This is our enemy. I brought back.
And this also sets up lethal with the Samurai plus the Eye. I guess Unctus is still lethal because it pumps the Eye. I should just block. So we just minus here.
My blade has no equal.
All right, sick. To the finals. Playing for the last set of monies here. 3-0 and going to round 4. This hand needs a couple lands, but it's pretty much doing it. Probably Mace Skull Bomb on 2 into Eye into both, is my guess. Green-White Toxic. Right. Well, maybe we do just retrofit her on 3 then. Actually. Should have held up Plains. It represents more in the format. Pretty good. I basically just have to hope they don't have a way to interact with my lookout here. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, hopefully we have an impenetrable wall, but If the retrofitter goes down, I'm in trouble. Can't block. So as long as I hit my land drops here, Eternal Wanderer is just going to win. So I'm wondering, should I just Planar Disruption the Duelist? If they play like a Tyrannex Atrocity, I can just double block. Well, but then they can kill the Retrofitter and I just lose both. That is kind of bad. But there's not a lot I can do about that. I guess I could take 5. And then I could Planar Disruption it. I guess because I have the Eternal Wanderer, I kind of just want to make sure I hit land drops here. So I think I'm just going to block, and I think both those are actually bad right now. Though I do almost have lethal with a Skull Bomb, because I can jump the eye, and that puts him to 1. So maybe I'm playing too defensively here. But I kind of feel like if I just don't die, then we should be able to win. So my plan is to Planar Disruption, so I don't actually want to use the Skull Bomb, but I am going to attack because I want to trade. Do they have Charge of the Mites? Oh, Titanic Growth? Maybe jumping. Alright, now is the time to just Planar Disruption the Duelist. Make sure we don't die. We are at 7. But I threaten lethal with the Skull Bomb next turn, or I could cycle it to try to get to Eternal Wanderer if I need to. So, kind of either line could work. Yeah, that's the one. If I take 5 here, is there any way I can die? I think I just go to 2 and I jump the Retrofitter. If they play Land Swooping Lookout, that's what I can die to, but I think that's unlikely. And if they do that, I have Eternal Wanderer potentially. Oh, that was a pretty tight game. They have a really good Toxic deck, but thankfully we have a really good Blue-Eyed deck. So this is interesting. On the draw, the eyes are a lot worse. but I don't know that there's that much I can do about that. The 1/3 seems great if they don't have the signpost on common. The taxing anatomist also kind of great. I wonder if I should just cut an Eye of Malcator for one of these. But that might be too cute. I mean, I have 2 planar disruptions already, and I have 2 1/3, so it's not like I'm taking a ton of damage early. Again, I don't really want to mess with what I have. I think it's pretty solid. This card's a little bit suspect. But it is a 2/1 that can block their signpost on common. So I think it's better than boarding in a Serum Sneer. Just a tricky deck to sideboard with, and usually the answer is 0 to 1 cards, I think. Because it's so linear. So the stay alive plan here is alive and well. Ooh, that one's good. I might just disruption it because I have 2 of them. I wonder if they're thinking about dealing me 1 damage versus oil countering. It sort of seems like they missed their land drop. Ah. I think I'm going to sack the Spell Bomb, and then if I draw a land, I can play a 2-drop. But if I miss a land, I can play the Lookout. One more land lets me eye, and then I think we're okay. We're not there yet, though. And I have a planar disruption in case they have a Tyrannex Atrocity. Yikes. Yeah, we're in trouble. Ooh, thank goodness that's not a giant toxic creature. Land, yes. So top, bottom. I think next turn we can attendant back the original planar disruption. Because we can finally block now. So I'm not toxic, so I don't have to worry about that quite yet. But I think I certainly need to play this because of the body. And I'm pretty happy to trade off the eye with their 4/3. Alright, tie game. Ooh, that's bad for me. Okay, what's my plan here? If they tap down a blocker, that is bad for me. They could double tap things, but I have the eye, so I think I just have to play this as a blocker that I could potentially attack. They're gonna have 5 mana next turn, so they can tap 2 things, and then I have no blockers. But I can tap something down. But if they tap both my creatures, they can deal me 5. If I put this disruption on the 4/3. I think that's the best move. Or I can play... Well, I can't play Ichor Synthesizer. Yeah, I mean, this is a tight game. But I can block. Because they can only equip or Sinew Dancer, not both. It's kind of the pivotal turn of the game right here. So with this attack, I have to jump. So let's do that. Otherwise I die. And now I can Synthesizer plus Prism, which animates Eye. Which I will attack with. And only Eye. So we're basically trading off chump blockers every turn. So we could do a Basilica Shepherd of our own. And if I have 2 blockers and they tap this one, then they attack with 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures, and I can block one of them. Yeah, that's kind of a rough top deck. I am behind. Vraska doesn't do it, right? I think I have 0 outs here. I just fell a little bit too behind in mana production. So if I play the Unctus, I tap 1 creature, I block, and then I take 5. So I don't even really want them to know I have that. I might board out Vraska on the play and cut some of these prisms. I'm not sure. It's not exactly good against their deck. But if I'm on the play, I have more time for it. So it's like kind of interesting. If I cut the prisms, I could also board in a 17th land to curve out on them. But I only have like unescaped experiment I can really bring in. So I'm losing my artifact count by doing that, which I don't love. And on the play, like, I think the prisms are really good. And I think Vraska still is good. It's just kind of clunky. So I think I actually still just keep it how it is. That game, like, I just missed my 3rd land drop, and that was kind of the end of it. It was a close game. It was a good game. I could also board in Charge of the Mites. I guess if I cut Prophetic Prism and Vraska and added a land, and put in Charge of the Mites and Escaped Experiment. But I lose a lot of power if I do that. Like, if they have a clunky draw, and Charge of the Mites, I have 11 creatures. I kind of just want to attack them. I think I'm leaving too much power on the board if I do that. Like, I'm too in the headspace of losing that particular game. Like, being on the play and having access to Planeswalker is worth doing. Well, is this better than 6? I have 15 lands, and I can put the Basilica Shepherd on the bottom. Not really how I want things to go, but I am already on 6, and this hand has the potential to be insanely good. How good are my 5s? My deck is really good, but the problem is I need a critical mass of things because of eyes. So the deck actually mulligans really badly. I also have 3 swooping lookouts I could draw, so really I'm looking at 15 really good draws because they're lands plus 3, so about half my draws are decent. And I have 3 skull bombs too. Yeah, I'm gonna keep both prisms because I just want to make sure I can hit my lands. If I do draw a land, but I don't draw the 3rd land, I need the prisms. Just please let me hit my land on turn 2. All right, that's kind of all I was asking for. Obviously, I want to get another one here, but yes. All right, I'm gonna take the 2. I can get my land here. I'm gonna keep both of those. It's pretty good. We know that they can have complete devotion, but I can disruption plus escaped experiment, so I think that's better than attendanting this turn. Because if they do have complete devotion, I can block here and then play this, and then hopefully they don't have anything after. Yeah, that is strong. I'm gonna bounce the Prism and hopefully we can get out of this. I could also double block, although it's really bad versus Complete Devotion, like I said. I mean, their deck is a 3-0 deck, so this is Battle of the Titans going on. I'm kind of wondering if I should double block. If they have Complete Devotion, I get essentially 3 for 1. But if I take 5 damage and 3 poison counters, I guess I should take 5 damage and 3 poison counters. As long as at the end of the poison that I take. Oh, but now if I get Complete Devotion on that, on blocks, so bad for me. Maybe instead attack for 4. Only. Maybe I just can't beat a Complete Devotion. Assuming they don't have it. Attack for 3. Play Lookout. Chump. But the Lookout doesn't even block the Slaughter Singer, though. I guess I should only attack for 4 anyways. I think I just need to cycle and use my mana. Because I'm going to Bardiche next turn anyways. Game is like super stressful. Gives me 2 more turns to draw another artifact. So I can attack with I 2 turns in a row. I think that's basically all I have time left for. Though I do have 2 Planeswalkers I can draw. Alright. I was thinking about maybe double blocking, but now I definitely just jump. Well, I could triple block. But then if they do have Complete Devotion, the game literally ends. I think jumping is best. Maze Skull Bomb is interesting. I could give Trample, but maybe I wait a turn to do it. If I Skull Bomb and then use it immediately, I have a 6 power Trampler. Let's assume... Can I beat Charge of the Mites right now? If they Charge of the Mites, EOT, I'm going to have 2 blockers, or I could do this. I think Complete Devotion is somewhat likely to be in their hand based on the way the game has gone out. They haven't had a good chance to use it. So that would tell me I should just Bardiche and set up to Maze Skullbomb the following turn. In which case I should probably not attack with the Attendant. Just attack with these. If they block in Complete Devotion, they trade. They go to 7. But then I can double block. This also plays around charge of the mites a little better by having another 3/4 back. But I think my ultimate plan next turn is Mace Skull Bomb for trample. So I just need to not die. Alright. Basically blocking almost anything. Now they're on blocks. What if I retrofitter the lookout? Well, let's say they have complete devotion. They block this on the vigilance creature. And they have 2 blockers on this, and if I retrofitter this, what if I... Well, I could start with the Maze Skull Bomb. And give... What am I giving trample here? Probably this one, because then it trades. It'd be bad if they have a fight spell, but they can't realistically have that card. If they had Infectious Bite, they would have played differently. Okay. So now... If I attack with everything... They could eat this on the complete devotion, but if I attack all, let's see what happens. Block here. Well, they might let this through. So block here, here, complete devotion, eat this. And so they have to block this. And let's say block here and here. Put that first. And these ones can block like here and here. And they go to... I think they go to 1 if I attack all, like this. Plus I can play another blocker. So I think this attack is good. Unless they have multiple spells. Also, if they had charge of the mites, they would have used it in response to my Mace Skull Bomb. So I didn't need to play around that one in terms of my calculations. If they have double complete devotion, I think I'm still okay. If they have Titanic Growth, I only get to kill one of the creatures on double blocks. So it probably would be Incisor Glider, I think. Because then Retrofitter is lethal next turn. And they both pump anyways. Okay. Oh, crazy game. Woo! Second time winning an arena open. And feels pretty good. Not gonna lie. Well, everyone, it's been a day of drafting. We've had some top decks, we've had some insane games, and really can't have offered any better Magic than what you just saw, I don't think, in terms of the quality of games we had over the course of the day. So thanks for tuning in, and yeah, not a bad chunk of cash to walk away with. And I'll catch you all in the next one.